Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome. Give it
Hello,
another
Colin.
minute. People to roll in. I'm just checking my. All right, my OBS decided not to work all of a sudden. So sorry, content team. You guys are gonna have to deal with the Zoom recording. Okay. Hello. How's everyone? Good to see everyone's faces. Right, we got a full house today. I'm excited. You guys excited for today's session? Yeah. It's going to be a long one, so buckle in. If you haven't, get your coffee, get your tea, whatever it is you're drinking. All right, we got a lot of excitement going on in the chat. Yeah, let's make today fun here, because we're gonna get pretty technical with things, and so let's balance that with some human excitement and fun. So definitely join me in the conversations here, whether you want to unmute yourself and just join the conversation. You can join in the chat as well. And yeah, let's get comfortable. Let's dive in here. I'm really excited for today's session. Um, we have a mix here of some of our EAs that are on the bench who are waiting to get matched with their future client. We have a mix of EAs that are already in our world that are matched with clients. So uh, yeah, regardless of where you're at, this training I believe is going to be really impactful and helpful. I hope it is. It's going to be. And so I'll start by just sharing a little bit of context into why we're running this training and why now, and then we'll dive into the workshop here. Um, yeah, so this came about because I was chatting with the team, with our team, and we're just taking kind of a step back here and looking at, okay, what's the best way we can set all of you guys up for success here, right? I've talked extensively already about the importance of, uh, upskilling, leveling up, right? And looking at what your future career gets to look like in this world of AI. So I'm not going to go back and I'm like a broken record at this point already. I think you guys get the point that, AI is here. It's not going anywhere. It's only going to keep evolving, which means all of us, not just you guys as EAs, but everyone here, myself included, as the CEO of this company, we can't continue to, take the traditional approach to career path progression and development, right? If we want to continue to build a career that's sustainable for us, and create work that we get to enjoy, we love doing while still creating an impact, while, of course, the most important piece, make money, right? We have to look at where's the world going, and we need to adapt quickly to that, right? I saw a message or a post on LinkedIn a couple days ago, and someone talked about um, uh, the importance of the difference between playing defense and playing offense right now. Right, and I think is quite relevant. All right, there's still a lot of people and a lot of companies that are still playing in defense. How do I protect what we have here? Right, knowing that the world's changing so fast, knowing that AI is progressing so quickly, right? Versus a small subset of people and companies who are like, no, we're not going on defense. We're playing offense here. Let's adapt quickly, right? That's going to take bigger risks. That's going to take sitting in the discomfort of the unknown, of uncertainty, right? And looking at how do we adapt quickly? How do we evolve quickly, right? And what we're going to notice over the next couple of years here is you're going to see who's going to win in this game and who's not, right? And the hypothesis is the ones that are playing on offense are going to win versus the ones that are playing in defense, right? And so the question I want to throw out to you guys right now, for all of you to sit back, to take a step back and reflect and think about is, am I playing defense right now or am I playing offense? right? Am I playing defense in the sense of how do I just keep the role that I'm in right now, maintain and try to protect and hold on to this for dear life? Or am I going into offense and being okay with everything, with the resources that I have right now, right? How do I adapt? How do I adapt quickly? How do I level up quickly? Right? How do I shape the future of my role, my life, my reality? Right. And I just want to start by sharing that with you guys. Because if you're still playing on defense, this is your encouragement. This is your um uh you know, yeah, encouragement. This is the encouragement to really ask yourself, do I want to keep playing defense? Or is it time for me to step into offense right now and go, what can I do? Right. And so that's the reason why we're putting together this workshop. That's the reason why we just launched the AI training community, which hopefully all of you guys are in there already, right? I know it's still a little bit of a slow ramp up right now, right? There's not a huge ton of engagement, and we're still in the process. I'm most of my time, you can ask Lamia, most of my time, my calendar right now is creating content, creating training for all of you guys, right? Putting that together, packaging it, and there's a lot of intentionality around this. It's not just let me just create content and throw it into the community for you guys, right? There's intentionality behind what's actually worth learning, what's actually worth working on right now, rather than chasing after the next shiny object, the next exciting thing, because there's so many things coming out, right? There's OpenClaw, there's Hermes, there's all these the new agents that's going to be coming in the future here. Lots of exciting, cool things, right? But what I want to equip you guys with is what's actually going to be sustainable and what's actually going to create compounding leverage for both you and for your executive, right? And so that's why I'm slowing down a bit and not just let me just hammer you guys and throw a bunch of content. Like I can teach you guys anything. You guys want agents? I'll teach you guys how to build agents. Right? You guys want to build softwares? I'll teach you guys how to build software. Easy, right? But that's not the question. The question is what's actually worth learning right now that's going to create a compounding leverage for both you and your executive that lasts a long time rather than you guys getting sucked down the rabbit hole, right? I'm guilty of that. I've gone down many rabbit holes at this point, right? All the new cool things. Um, but not everything actually leads to good outcomes and compounding leverage, right? You're going to keep hearing me talk about those two things over and over again, right? And so that's kind of why the context behind why we're creating this training and the AI training community, right? Is to give you guys what do you guys need right now to create that compounding leverage that's going to make you stand out of the whole entire pool of other EAs, VAs, AI creators out there, right? Or AI operators out there, right? And the first thing that's most important here is setting up the AI workspace, right? Your AI workspace as well as your executive's AI workspace, because you can go and create agents and do whatever, cool things that they want there. But if there isn't a cohesive and productive and effective AI workspace, everything is going to be scattered. And for those of you guys that have executives and are working with executives right now, you know how ADHD most of your executives are. Right. And so if everything is scattered and all over the place, how productive will they actually be? Right. So yeah, that's why I want to put together this training. And another reason is for those of you that are on the bench right now waiting for to get matched, right? As the TA team might have shared with you guys already, right? Is we're seeing less and less of a demand for traditional EAs, right? What clients or what executives, founders, expectations are has increased. Right? They no longer want, hey, I need a traditional EA that handles my inbox, my calendar, my tasks, and all of that. They want all that still. They need that still. We know there's a need for it. This isn't I'm not saying your guys' role is obsolete and there isn't a need. There's absolutely still a need for it, right? Very clear use case of this. Zion, you guys remember Zion, previous CEO here, right? He's gone on, built another company. His current EA got promoted to chief of staff and is working on other things in the company now. And he came back to us. He's like, hey guys, I need another EA. All right. And this is Zion we're talking about, who has automated so much with AI already. Like most of Hum, the company that he's building right now, runs on AI. There's more AI agents than there are humans in that company right now. And yet he still came to us and was like, I need another EA. That's a really good signal. That's a good signal that there's still a need for it, right? However, there's a nuance here that he came to us with. I need an EA with AI skills because most of my company runs on AI. So an EA that doesn't know how to work with AI is not going to excel in that company, and therefore probably not the EA he's going to hire. All right. And so I share that as a very close to home example of what I believe is happening right now. Right? Is more and more executives know there's a need, that they need someone, human, AI, whatever, robots, right, to manage their inbox, their calendar, their tasks, their meetings, manage their time, manage their focus so they can focus on the right thing. That need is still here. However, the expectation of who they hire to handle that has gone up, right? And so I want to run this workshop, and I appreciate all of you guys. I know all of you went through a very rigorous recruitment process already, and training process and evaluation process to get to the bench, right? And I know it doesn't sound fair to be like, hey, you guys need more upskilling to get to that point, but that is the reality, right? Without sugarcoating or anything, that is the reality. Is in order to be able to quickly and easily match you guys and promote you, right, to more clients, we need to up your guys' standards as well so that we can then go out into the world and be like, hey, we don't just have traditional EAs anymore. We have EAs that are trained on AI, right? And more importantly, we have EAs who know how to set up your AI workspace so that you can be extremely productive, right? You can be an exponentially growing executive in your world. All of a sudden, that framing becomes way more attractive, right? I can't imagine which executives would be like, no, I don't want that. Right? Can't imagine that. All right. So therefore, that's why we're doing this workshop today. This is why we're putting a lot more time and energy into creating the training in the community for you guys. All right. My ask for you guys is simple, right? Is take action. Right? Go learn these things that we're teaching you guys and go and take action, right? And join the community. If you guys are already in there, engage in the community, right? We're not looking for engagement for the sake of engagement. We're looking for engagement because we want to understand where you guys are at and what you need so that we can be intentional with creating more training for you guys. Right? There's no point in me creating all this content and training and sharing it, and you guys don't watch it, you guys don't take action on it, you guys don't do anything with it. Right? My time can be better put somewhere else. But right now, I'm investing that in you guys. And so my ask is that you also meet me in the middle here, right? Hop in the community, engage in there, tell me, what do you need? What do you want? Where's your gap right now so that I can help and the team can help create more training for you guys so that you guys can become the type of EAs that regardless of where AI goes, executives still want, right? Want to keep and want to hire. Cool. Enough of my spiel, enough of my rant there. Let us dive in here. So I'm gonna pull up my screen here. Any questions on everything I shared so far? Does that land for you guys? Right. If it doesn't land for you guys are welcome to hop off. No hurt feelings or anything. Right. If you guys like, nope, don't agree, and you wanna, you're like, I have a clear path already, you're welcome to hop off. Right. I want to be respectful of your time, just as I want you guys to be respectful of mine and the team's time. Right. Cool. All right. All right. Cool. So to make this all easier for you guys, because I know we're going to go through a lot of this and you're going to forget a bunch of it, and that's fine. You're supposed to forget a bunch of it. And it's technical, and so there's a lot of steps in here. I don't imagine anyone to absorb all of this within 2 hours, which is why I put together a playbook for you guys. All right, to capture everything that I'm going to be sharing in this training, right? That way you have a clear step-by-step playbook that you can take to one, set up your AI workspace for yourself. And then two, if you have an executive right now, set it up for your executive. If you're getting ready to get matched for an executive, be prepared to set this up for your executive, right? So we're going to cover 4 things today, which are the 4 core components that makes up an AI workspace. And I'm going to explain each one so that all of it is super clear for you guys, right? And the reason why we're focusing on the AI workspace, again, comes back to compounding leverage, right? The AI models, the AI agents themselves will continue to keep evolving and keep changing and will keep looking differently, right? Claude just released 4.7, which is different from 4.6, right? Maybe next week it's going to be 4.8. The week after that, it's going to be something else. They're just constantly changing instead of us focusing on chasing after the next new model, the next new agent, the next new OpenClaw. What we want to focus on is how do we build the infrastructure, right, that just continues to compound regardless of what agent, what model we're using and where it's going, right? That's going to be the most valuable thing that you can do at the early stages here as AI continues to develop, right? In the AI world right now, we call this the harness, right? It's the harness that you wrap the agent around, right? That's important because it doesn't matter about the agent. If the agent changes or evolves into a new thing, great. We take the same harness, we wrap it around the next agent. That evolves, we wrap it around the next one, next one. But the thing that we build that continues to compound is the harness and the intelligence layer underneath. Then it doesn't matter where the agent goes, you create sustainability and you create something that where leverage continues to compound for your executive, but also for yourself. All right, everything I'm going to share today, you guys can apply this to yourself, and I highly recommend you apply this to yourself, all right, because you can't teach someone to do something if you haven't done it yourself. This applies for anything, right? You can't take someone somewhere you haven't been yourself, right? Yeah, the 4 components that creates this harness, right, an intelligence layer is going to be 1, the AI workspace, which is the interface in which I'm going to say you, right? And this applies to your, executive, but just to save me some words here. I'm just going to focus on building this for you. All right. So it's the interface that you work within, right? Day in, day out for all of your workflows, your tasks, everything. One centralized command center, right? This is what it looks like for me, right? This is my AI workspace. I spend all of my day in this. Everything I do is in here. Why? Because I have access to my harness, right? All my contacts, my second brain, the memory system, the integrations layer, these things, which I'll come back to. And I have access to Claude Code, right? So and Claude Code has access to all of that. All of my workflows, everything I do pretty much comes back into here. Today's Claude Code, maybe next month, a new agent layer or whatever comes out that's better than Claude Code. I can easily swap that out, but the harness stays the same, right? My AI workspace stays the same, right? This is healthy for my ADHD mind, right? I don't have to open up 5 different tools to be able to do the thing that I need to do, right? It's one centralized workspace. So that's what the workspace is, all right? So one clear interface is the first component. Second is the second brain, right? This is where all of my context lives, where all my projects is, right? So in here, I have all my meetings. The transcribe goes into here, meeting summaries. I have my daily, weekly, monthly reports, right? My stakeholder briefs, all my reports goes in here. So any reports that Lamia sends to me or Kai, my agent, sends to me goes into here, right? I have my knowledge base of all the concepts that I'm currently staying on top of right now and doing more research and down the rabbit hole of, right? I capture all this knowledge. I work with it with Claude Code and it continues to keep updating. So this just becomes a compounding knowledge base. Compounding knowledge base there, right? I have my projects. These are all the live projects that I have going on right now, right? Anything I'm done with goes into the archive, right? You guys can start to see, right? How my second brain works, right? I have my key areas of responsibilities, right? Right now, my focus is content, finances for the company, product, and of course, strategic planning are the four areas of responsibilities. This will look differently for your executives, right? Whatever their areas of responsibilities are, whatever is important to them, it can look different, right? There's no one way to do a second brain, but the important thing is having a second brain. How that gets architect, right, will be up to you and your executive to figure that out. Right? Don't look for a one size fit all solution here. Right? I will provide you guys a template so you have a starting point, but don't try to, fit your executive into one way of doing things because as you guys know, a lot of your executives operates probably very different from how I operate. All right. But I'm going to give you guys a starting point. So that's the second thing, right? AI workspace, second brain. And then the third thing is an underlying, you won't see this in here, but there's an underlying memory system so that any agent or AI model has persistent memory, right? That's the issue right now is many people still work with AI as if it's like a Google, right? Or, yeah, where they just use it to chat, they use it to search and find things, they use it to create simple docs. But what's missing is the connective tissue that creates a memory system so that your AI model doesn't have amnesia every night, right? In the morning, you work with it, it has all the contacts at nighttime, you shut it down. Next morning, you open you open up another chat, and all of a sudden it has amnesia. It forgot everything you worked on, right? So the memory system is going to be really important because it helps create the compounding effect, right? And I'll show you guys a simple way to be able to set that up. And then the fourth layer or the fourth component here is the integrations layer, right? Many of your executive works with a lot of different tools, right? They work with, Gmail, Google Calendar, Fathom, Google Drive, QuickBooks, all sorts of different tools, right? How do we create an integration layer that connects all the tools into your AI workspace? All right, and so those are the four components we're going to dive into today. I'm going to show you guys how to set those four up, right? You're able to set these four up, then you're able to build the starting point for the AI workspace for yourself and for your executives. All right. Is that clear so far? I gotta pull the chat up so I can see. I see a question here. Yeah, if you guys have questions, throw it in there, right? I'll try my best to keep on top of it, but I have the team here, so they'll be able to keep track for me as well. So Tao's asking for later, whenever, wherever. Super curious to know how everyone's personal AI learning curriculum looks like. Oh, great question there. Yeah. Yeah, I love that. Yeah. Let's definitely add that into the AI training community, right? And let's start a conversation, let's start a thread in there. I'm also very curious to how you guys are setting up your own personal learning curriculum, what you're diving into, what you're learning, how you're keeping on top of everything. I can share with you guys some of the things that works for me, right? Yeah. Cool. All right. So those are the four components. We're going to dive into the technical side of how to set these up, right? We're going to go through it through we'll go through 5 phases, right, of how that works. And so you'll get access to this playbook. Once you start it, it's kind of like a knowledge-based style, takes you through sequentially of what to do. All right, let's start with the mindset piece, right? I talked about why, why the AI workspace is important, but let me just share a little bit more kind of details on, what this does, right? What this does, what it unlocks, what it creates for you and for your executive, right? For your executive, again, everything is scattered all over the place, right? Our job here, our mission here at Atlas is helping them reduce their operational workload so they can focus on the right things, right? That last piece there is really important. Being able to focus on the right things, right, takes a lot of architecting to be able to not just reduce their workload, but help them focus on the right things, right? And so the AI workspace is meant to help create more focus right? So they're not all over the place, but also create that system where broken record, right? Compounding, 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 compounding. Right. Right now, you guys saw my second brain, right? It started off bare bones and it continues to develop. And I can continue using this for years and years and years. And it's only going to keep getting more comprehensive, right? But everything is all in one place there for me, right? The same is going to apply for you guys when you guys build your own second brain, right? It creates that layer that just continues to compound for you, right? Um, the other, a couple more key important mindset things here too, right, is a lot of people use AI in a very how do I frame this? Simple, simplistic way that doesn't fit with the way AI works, right? We're creatures of habits, right? We are humans, we're creatures of habits. We continue to repeat the same habits until we have the level of awareness to know that this habit does not work and then we change the habit. Well, your executives, your founders are going to be the same thing, right? There's a certain set of habits that they carry in how they run and operate their business, as well as how they manage their team, their human team, right? And it's a preset of habits they've learned over time, right? And they're going to continue those same habits. However, not all those habits are effective when it comes to working with AI, right? The way you manage a human team versus the way you manage a multi-agent team, there are some principles that carry over, and there are some principles or habits that are ineffective that needs to be changed, right? And so a part of building the AI workspace is starting to repattern how your executive works with AI, right? When working with AI, most people do the simplistic of just delegating it. Hey, go do that thing, right? However, that's not how AI works. AI is not designed to just be something that you delegate things to. AI is designed to be orchestrated. Does anyone know the difference between delegating and orchestrating? Anyone want to take a stab?
Um, Hi, Colin. This is Sandhani. If I'm to guess, I would say delegating means you know exactly what the other person needs to be doing, and you're just telling them, okay, you do this task. But orchestrating, I guess it's more like you have a strategy, a masterminding plan, and it's more like you're playing with dominoes. You just pull one string and let all the other strings just flow
Hmm.
automatically. So that's what I'm
Mhm.
thinking.
Yeah, thank you, Sandini. Yeah, that's a great explanation. All right. Yeah, you're spot on. Right. When it comes to delegating, it's telling the other person what to do. All right. Maureen, yeah, exactly. Orchestrating is more of a leadership oriented approach, 100%. Right. And as you guys know from delegation, there's delegation and then there's effective delegation. Right. Here at Atlas, we teach you guys and we teach the executives effective delegation, which is the 10-80-10. Right. You don't just go and tell an EA, go do this. That's it. Right? You give them the vision, you give them the resources, you give them the context, right? That first 10%, 80% you allow them to do, 10% you refine things, right? That 10-80-10 is actually more orchestrating than it is delegating. Right? We just call it delegation to keep it, consistent, but that's what orchestration is, right? Uh, Seeing a delegation, handing task off. Yep. Orchestration, designing, and managing this exactly, right? Orchestrating is how do you actually design and architect, right? The system in which AI can effectively do what it does best, right? And that's what the AI workspace is doing is we're starting to create the foundation for orchestration, right? We're not going to get too deep into this part today in terms of building skills and plugins, right? But that's what I'm going to be creating training for it in the AI training community is how you start to, you have all the context here. Great. Now, how can you start to create skills and plugins, right? Which are the SOPs, the playbooks, right? The guardrails, right? The access to the different tools. And then you allow AI to do what it does best, right? And so that's the shift we want to be making here for our executives is not just, many of them are still just treating AI like it's a thing to delegate to, right? They're used to just using ChatGPT, right? Or Claude Chat and it's go do this, build this, create this kind of thing, right? But there's no orchestration around that, right? Um, you do the task, let's make everything work together. Exactly. This is great. You guys are on it. You guys are on it. Amazing. And the last kind of mindset shift here before we dive into the technical side of things is data ownership, right? The intelligence layer is the moat here, right? Not just the system, but the intelligence layer, which is where all the data, where all the memory lives. How do we capture that? How do we organize that in a way so that, again, as you swap out the agent or the AI model, it doesn't matter, right? The AI models and the agents, this is the dumbest it'll ever be. All right. They're really smart already. But what I'm trying to say is this is the dumbest it's ever going to be because it's only going to get smarter and smarter and smarter. Right. Then our job is not to try to work the agent or work the AI model. Our job is build the harness and the intelligence layer, right? That's the orchestrating piece. We build that and we just allow the agents and the AI models to evolve at their own time. Okay, let's dive in. So first component, um, how many of you guys already have access to Claude Code? Meaning you guys have a paid Claude subscription. Let's drop that in chat. Yes, no. Just want to see a pulse of where everyone's at. Rosie says free one. I got some yes, paid ones. Okay. Yes, yes. Amazing. Amazing. Cool. Yeah. So in order for all this to work, in order for to have access to Claude Code, you will need a paid subscription. Even if you want access to Claude Cowork, which is a version of Claude Code, it's a less technical version of Claude Code. It uses the same agent runtime as Claude Code, but Cowork is just another. Cowork is Anthropic's way of trying to build an AI workspace for you, right? So you guys probably seen Cowork. If you haven't, all right, Cowork, essentially the same thing, right? Minus the fact that you just can't actually see the files, right? The folder you connect it to, you have to pull up a separate app to see your files. But the idea, every feature they're building in here, essentially they're trying to build an AI workspace for you, right? So that you have access to Claude Code without needing to use Claude Code directly, right? My prediction, Cowork will probably get to a point where you might not even need all of this set up here, right? But until that happens, I still feel this is the best way to set up a cohesive AI workspace. So I'm going to show you guys this way, and then wherever, if Claude Cowork gets to a place where it gets as good as this, amazing, right? Then you guys can scrap everything here, but you guys take the same principles you're learning here and just apply it, right? If you're only on the free plan, right, I highly recommend you guys get onto the paid one, right? I know that, especially if you're not with an executive already. If you're with an executive, just get your executive to get you a paid plan. There's no reason why your executive should not be getting you a paid plan, right? Especially if you frame it in a way where it's going to unlock both you and them, right? And all the things that you're going to be able to do for them, right? It's an absolute no-brainer request, right, to get a paid plan from your executives. If you haven't been matched yet, then I get it. You're probably just waiting to get matched before you get a paid plan. My encouragement is if it is possible for you, just get it, right? It's an investment you're making in yourself here, right? It's an investment you're making in your career, right? To sit and wait until you have a paid plan before you start building all this, tinkering, learning, and actually upskilling, right, to me is playing defense, right? Playing offense, make the investment, right? Even if you just, I'm going to try it out for 1 month, you don't have to stay on it for long term. Just be like, I'm going to get the paid plan for 1 month and I'm going to leverage the shit out of it and learn everything, build everything as I can, as much as I can, so that I can upgrade my portfolio so that when I'm about to get matched or interviewing with clients, I can be like, look at all the things that I've done already. Look at all the things that I know how to do. I can do this all for you, right? You immediately secure a way higher opportunity to get matched than an EA who is just sitting there waiting. I'm going to wait till I'm matched and then I'll get a paid plan and then I'll figure things out and learn, right? That's defense. You're playing defense. You're just trying to protect what you have right now, right? And I get it. Everyone has different financial situations. My encouragement is if it's possible for you, make the investment. It's a small investment in yourself that creates a huge amount of leverage for yourself. All right. Now, the alternative, if you absolutely cannot get onto the paid plan, but you still want to be able to set up the AI workspace, I'd still do it, right? Most of these tools in here come with a free plan, with the exception of Claude Code. It's the only one that you won't be able to do, right? And so you kind of just either skip that, or the workaround is swap out one of the tools. I'm going to recommend VS Code here, but there's another tool that we'll get to this, right, where you can use it. And it does come with a limited amount of Claude tokens that you can use. All right. So yeah, let's dive in. First step is tech stack. You want to have your tech stack set up to have the AI workspace. And I already covered a lot of this in the previous training we did with the EAs. It's also in the AI training community, track 1 for the Claude Code course. All right, so I'm going to breeze through this. All right, if you guys want the in-depth instructions for it, go into that course there. But the first step here is getting an IDE. All right, the IDE is the interface, right? And so I use VS Code, so I recommend it, but there's a lot out there. Cursor is another really good one, right? The one that has tokens that comes with the free plan is called Anti-Gravity. Let me just pop that up. This is what it looks like. As you can see, all the IDEs look pretty much the same. There's the same functionalities that most of them have, right? You'll be able to open your folders, whatever folder you're working in. There's every IDE has their own agent with it too, right? If you're using Claude Code, you don't need to worry with the agent. So if you can't get a paid Claude subscription, the workaround is use anti-gravity. On the free plan, you do get access to Gemini, Claude Sonnet, and Claude Opus. Very limited. You will run into your limits there, but it does come with enough of it that you can still play around with everything that we're talking about today, right? Then instead of opening up or integrating Claude Code into it, you would just use the agent that comes with anti-gravity, right? So that is the workaround there, right? You just set up anti-gravity, set it up with your own personal Gmail account, and the free plan comes with some of that there. Cool. So the tools that you want to set up, VS Code, set up an IDE like this, right? Then you want to set up a Obsidian account. That's also free, right? Obsidian just allows us to sync your second brain, all right? Well, 1, it helps you sync your second brain. 2, it helps give you a very nice, clear visual of all of your files in there, because everything is going to be in markdown files. And as you guys know, when you open up a markdown file, it looks very ugly and hard to read, right? With Obsidian, you'll be able to see it very clearly, right? And then you want to set up your Claude Code integration in this. So I'll quickly go through the steps here, right? So once you download VS Code, all right, so go into VS Code, download that, whether it's for Mac, Windows, right? Once you have that, you open it up. It's going to look like this, right? And then you want to 2 ways to add Claude Code, right? One is through the extension. So you head over to this one. Nope, this one. Extensions, right? type in Claude Code, look for the Claude Code extension, install that. Right. Once you install that, whoops. Once you install that, right, then Claude Code will be connected to your, oops, um, your IDE here. You go to the top here, do the triangle, type in Claude Code, open up a new window. First time you do this, it's going to ask you to sign into your subscription. All right. Once you sign in, then now you have a very nice viewable view of Claude Code here in your IDE. All right. The second way to do it is in your terminal. You can either open up terminal or your PowerShell using the app on your computer, or you just hit up here, open up the lower toggle, all right, and terminal will pop up here. Then you can download Claude Code CLI. All right, just go to the Claude Code docs, and there's a quick start in here. They'll give you the instructions, and just follow the instructions, add that in, then you'll be able to access Claude in the terminal. All right, the extension is the cheat, not the cheat, is the shortcut way to access it. Claude, the terminal way is the more technical way to do it, right? If most cases, you can just use the extension. Here's where I'm going to push back slightly, right? Is you're going to need to learn to get comfortable with the terminal anyways. So I would recommend learning to install Claude Code both ways, just as a way so that you can start to get comfortable with the terminal, right? And it's important because if you're not comfortable with the terminal and your executive doesn't know how to use the terminal, then both of you guys are screwed, right? You gotta know no one's gonna be able to teach each other, right? So at least if you are comfortable with the terminal, you can still kind of guide your clients through it, right? And to be honest, if I was an executive, I didn't know how to use the terminal, and my EA was like, here, you just do this, do this, do this, do this, I'm keeping you. All right, let's be real here. I didn't have to hire a dev to tell me how to use the terminal. My EA taught me how to use the terminal. That's just massively like a very attractive thing, right? And reason why, that makes you stand out from every other EA out there, because 90% of the EAs out there do not know how to use terminal, right? So follow the instructions, add it in here. Once you add it, then you'll be able to access Claude Code right in the terminal here, right? And you can use either way. You can use the extension or you can use the terminal. Don't allow. Right. The extension looks nicer. It's a nicer interface. Terminal is less nicer, right? But the terminal has there'll be some use cases where you will need access to the terminal to do certain things, right? And so again, learn how to do both. Take the time there. If you get stuck anywhere, right? Pull up Claude Chat, take screenshots, send it to Claude Chat. I'm stuck. What do I do? Right? And Claude Chat will guide you through it, or ChatGPT, or whatever free or chat tool you use there, right? So that's the first step there, is getting the VS Code and getting your Claude Code connected to it, right? Once it's connected, we'll come back to the Obsidian piece, right? The next piece is you're going to want to create a Composio account, right? Composio, everyone's familiar with Zapier, right? I'm pretty sure everyone's familiar with Zapier. Composio is like a Zapier, but designed for AI agents, right? So Composio allows you to connect all the different tools that you're using and then give one connection to your AI model or agent. And then your AI model or agent will now have access to everything else, all the other tools, right? The other way to do this is you hard code and set up every single integration, but that takes time, that takes tokens, that takes a lot of work. Easier way is set up a simple Composio layer, all right? And I'll walk you guys through how to do that later. So those are pretty much the tools that you're going to be using to build the AI workspace here, right? And so the playbook will walk you guys through how to do that. Once you do that, you authenticate Claude Code, make sure that Claude Code's working, right? Then the first thing you want to do is you want to set up a couple baseline plugins that's going to be super helpful for your executive, but also for you, right? Plugins, to access the plugins, you go into here, / plugins, manage plugins, right? If yours will be empty at first, you're going to have to add in the marketplace. right? And so the marketplaces I recommend is going to be the Claude Dash Plugins official marketplace. And this is all the plugins that Claude themselves have created, right, for their own tool, which means it's just going to be really good. And it gives very clear instructions based on how Claude works, right? As you can see here, we are building our own marketplace soon, right? We're going to be launching our own set of plugins and skills that the Atlas team has been building and sharing that with you guys, that you'll be able to add in that marketplace and have access to all of these Atlas created skills, right? Like the inbox management skill, meeting operations, and so on, right? Once you add the marketplace, the plugins will show up here. You're going to see all the different plugins that you have access to, and then you just install them, right? The starting ones that I recommend to start with, right, is the superpowers one. Superpowers one, as I demoed in the previous training call, is used for development. It's great for brainstorming, taking your idea, turning it into implementation plan, and building it, right? So this is good if you're building websites, landing pages, web apps, micro apps. Really great for it. It takes you through a very structured development process, which is way better than if you're just to chat directly with Claude Code and be like, build me this, right? Or brainstorm me on this, right? There's no clear flow, right? And consistent flow, right? And so the superpowers is a really great plugin for that. Front end design, if you're doing anything that has front end work, right? So design work, this one just makes it so that your work, what Claude builds for you does not look like AI slop, right? And I think I demoed this in the previous call as well. Playwright's another good one. Playwright basically gives Claude the ability to open up browser and take screenshots of it so that it can check its own work. So let's say if you're building a website, a landing page, right? Instead of constantly going back and forth and sending screenshots back and forth to it, you just give it the ability to open up the browser. It takes a screenshot of what it did and it validates and see if it did it correctly before sending it to you, right? Then it cuts down on that back and forth there, right? The other three that's really important here is the skill creator plugin, right? So the skill creator plugin is super meta, is the plugin that instructs Claude how to effectively build skills, right? The plugin dev one, same thing, is the instructions that gives Claude how to build plugins. You guys know the difference between skills and plugins yet? Yes, no? Yes, no? No, no, no. Okay. All right. That's worth diving into. Some of you, yes. Okay, cool. So skills. Let me come back to mine here, my second brain here. So skills, you guys probably all know already, right? Skills are like the SOPs that we give to AI agents to be able to do a certain workflow, right? So the most easiest analogy of it is an SOP, right? This is good for linear, simple processes. If you have a simple process, right, that you can create an SOP for, then you can turn that into a skill. You can give the AI agent the skill. It will do the skill, right? Now, what happens is not everything can fit into a single simple SOP, right? Because sometimes we don't just have one process, but we have a system, a complex system with multiple processes in there, right? And pre-AI, what we did was we had SOPs and we have playbooks, right? SOPs, singular process, playbooks, a set of SOPs packaged together for a system, right? For example, let's pull up one. I have built a couple plugins in here, right? I just recently built this one. This is the Atlas expense management plugin, right? There's two skills in here. One skill is monthly expense report. Second one is subscription audit, right? I didn't want to package everything into one SOP because there's two processes. The first process is I want AI to go into my QuickBooks, pull and extract my expenses, categorize everything, organize everything, and tell me where I'm spending all my money. What tools am I spending money on, right? And do that monthly, right? That's one process. So that's one skill there. The second skill is I want to do a subscription audit where it audits that report and it looks for what are the tools that I no longer need that I can cancel, or what are the tools that I'm using right now that I can um, recreate it and build my own to cut down on those expenses, right? So it's two separate workflows all under one system, right? So that's what a plugin is. A plugin is a set of skills and commands and connection tools or connectors, right? Packaged together to achieve a certain set of outcomes, right? This consumes a lot of memory. It depends. It will. What do you mean by memory here? Are you talking about context, or are you talking about storage memory? RAM. Oh, got it. Okay. Um, it depends on what takes up the most amount of RAM is the process that the AI models run, not so much because like plugins is just a set of MD files. Most of them are just MD files. All right. And so that doesn't actually take up the RAM, but it's how you structure the skills that takes up the RAM, right? If you set up the skills and the workflow in a way that is not the cleanest and simplest path to getting to an outcome, then yes, that's going to take up way more RAM, right? But if you take the simple, cleanest path there, right, then it's going to take less, right? And so that's not so much the plugin itself, but it's how you architected the skills, what tools you give it, right? For example, MCPs will take up way more than if you direct code a connection, right? Um, More technical. We're not going to dive down into today, right? Today, key focus is how to, set some of these up, right? My philosophy is always set it up, get to the outcome first before you optimize for things like RAM and token usage, right? Because if you can't get to the outcome, there's no point trying to optimize things. It's the same with human processes as well. Instead of trying to automate for how quickly you can do things and what you can automate, get to the outcome first, right? Create a clear process and SOP to get to the outcomes, do it, get the result. Once you get the result, then you systematize and optimize for it. It's going to be the same when it comes to working with AI. Get to the outcome first and then come back and then optimize for things like context, RAM, and token usage. Okay, a little bit of a tangent there, but hopefully that explains the difference between or yeah, what skills are versus plugins, right? Skills, standalone processes, plugins, system, orchestration of a system with a set of skills, connectors, tools, all of that, right? Um, cool. Okay, so next step, once you have installed everything, then the next step is to set up your second brain. All right, so I'm going to come back to this empty one here. All right, and so you have the AI's workspace set up, you have the tools set up, right? And again, start with doing this for yourself. Once you know how to do this for yourself, then you're going to be able to do it for your clients, right? And because they're setting this up on their computer, right? In most cases, you're going to have to instruct them through how to do this, right? There is a way you can do it for them, but it does require you have to SSH into their computer, and not all executives are going to be okay with you doing that, right? And so get into the habit of setting this up so that you know how to be able to explain and guide your executive through it. All right, so how I would do it if executive just doesn't want me to SSH or access his computer or her computer directly would be, hey, let's set up your AI workspace. All right, it's probably gonna take a couple calls here to do this. Let's carve out some time for it. Let's hop on Zoom. We'll pull up your screen. I'm gonna walk you through step by step how to do it. I've done it for myself already, so I know how it works. I'll be able to guide you through exactly the step by step. Right, and then they open up, Zoom. They hop on. All right, first step, executive, download VS Code. Right, then install your Claude. Right, go into here, set up your extension, XYZ. Right, so that's how I would do it if I was in your guys' shoes. Right, once you have this the technical side set up, then you want to set up their second brain. Some executives will have an existing second brain already. Some might not. right? If you're starting from scratch, then you guys probably know how to do that already. If they have an existing one already, right, wherever that lives, Notion, Apple Notes, Google Docs, then there's a prerequisite conversation that you get to have with them around, hey, we need to set up your second brain so that it's AI native and AI forward, right? So that it can work with, is set up in a way so that it can work with your AI tools, right? Here's what Atlas suggested, right? Are you good with this, or do you have, a very specific way you want to be doing it, right? It's going to take a little bit of discovery and consulting that you're going to need to do, right? Before you actually get into building things out, right? Some of your executives might be, yeah, no, if, just do it the Atlas way, tell me what to do. That would be the easiest, simplest path there. But if some of them have their own way ready and they're very stuck in their way of doing things, you're going to need to play consultant a little bit and figure out what's the best way, right? The way that I am teaching it here is their second brain is going to live on their local computer, right, in a folder, right? So you open up a folder, right? They can decide where they want that. So I'm just going to create a test one here, right? Yeah, this is called a test brain. Empty right now. Open it up. This is going to be their second brain now, right? Wherever all their contacts and everything lives, I would either migrate things into here, right? Or if they're starting from scratch, then I would help them build up the folder architecture for it, right? And it might take some back and forth to understand what's important to them, right? You can take the template that we created here at Atlas for you guys, right? We have a GitHub um, second brain template here. You go to the GitHub repo here, right? You can, a couple ways is you can download the zip and just copy and paste, or not copy and paste, but just move the entire zip into the folder, right? You can go the AI route and just ask Claude to clone it. So if you go to take the URL of it, and you can go here and just be like, clone this second brain template here, right? Give it to Claude, and it's going to clone it here, right? This takes tokens though. The cheapest way to do it, if you want to be conservative on the tokens, just download the zip. All right, download the zip. It goes down into your computer. Open up the zip. Open it in the folder that you want to be where your client's brain is going to live. Right. I call mine just Colin Brain. Keep it simple. Done. And so I cloned it. It took this entire repo. It cloned it, and so now you have a starting infrastructure here that you can work with. Change it, modify it, remove it however you want so that it fits with your workflow, and so it fits with your executive's workflow. Now you want two second brains. You want your executive second brain and you want your second brain. All right, you want to set up both of them. Obviously, your executive doesn't need access to yours, but you're going to need access to your executive, which is why I'm going to be showing you guys how to set up the sync side of things when we get to that part. All right, so that you have access to your executive second brain, but also so you can sync your executive second brain to any AI agent that you guys build together in the future. All right, here's an example of that. This is Kai's workspace, my AI agent, my AI chief of staff, right? That works with Lamia, right? Lots going on in here, but Kai has his own workspace, his own, I guess, in a way, second brain. And look at that, Colin Brain, right? I took my brain and I mounted it. I synced it into his workspace so that he has access to everything in my second brain. So he has all the context that he needs, right? And so as many agents as you spin up, you can sync it, right, to both your executives and your second brain. And that way there's, modular components that you can architect and orchestrate what has access to what, right, versus putting everything into one place. Does that make sense? Okay. Am I going too fast for anyone? Anyone lost, or is this good? All right, if you guys are lost, let me know. I'm happy to slow down. All good? Okay. All right. I will be creating, I guess, more training material and kind of a course on all of this as well. So you guys will have those training videos. That way you can come back to that, and you'll have this playbook as well, right, to get into the details of things. All right. But that's the next step here is you build the second brain for your executive, and then you start adding in the context. Right. And so there's some templates in here that you can work off of. If your executive has existing context already, convert those to MD files, move them into the context folder, right? Start to orchestrate and, architect this out so it works for your executive. Okay. Um, yeah. So fill in the claude.md, right? Hopefully by now you guys already know what a claude.md is for, right? Claude.md is the first file that you can start multiple um, Claude chats, right? And anytime you prompt anything to Claude, the first thing it does is it's always going to read the Claude.md, right? And so the best practices here is you want to treat your Claude.md as the orchestrating rule, right? And so I'll pull this up. Let's read this through this together so you guys understand, right? The template Claude.md here will explain, hey, this is executive second brain. Here's what the directory structure looks like, right? Here's how to make sure everything follows the same consistent formatting, right? What are the existing skills that lives in here? What are the different work styles and preferences of this executive, right? So just high level rules so that Claude knows how to best work with your executive, right? Or you, if this is your second brain, how it's going to best work with you, right? And we want to keep this simple, not too long, right? But it's the kind of like a table of contents kind of guide and some hard guardrails, right? And that's where we want to keep the keep in the Claude.md there, right? Sanduni, I'm a bit lost due to my own fault, not having a good foundation, but I'm watching and making notes, hoping to get the transcript. Yeah, you guys will definitely get the recording and the transcript, and totally fine if you feel a little bit lost. You can keep coming back to this and the playbook, right? And again, I'm going to create more detailed videos for each step here. But because we don't have the amount of time for me to be able to go into every single detail, and anytime you guys get stuck with any of this, that's why we have the training community, right? I can't emphasize enough of it is take advantage of that, post in there if you're stuck anywhere, right? Because chances are if you're stuck somewhere, there's other people that are also stuck in learning with you, right? So once you have the second brain, then you want to go through, and I'm not going to explain how to do this. You guys are EAs, you know how to do this. Extract the context from your executive, right? Extract in whatever way is going to be the easiest way to extract from them. Voice notes, Zoom calls, find existing documents. You guys are EAs. You guys know how to do this already. I don't need to tell you guys how to do your job there, right? But extract that and start to fill in and start to build the starting point, right? So that it can continue to compound as you keep using it. All right. Now, what I do want to speak into is how do we actually get all of this to sync, right? And so this is why I recommend Obsidian and or Git. And I say and or, I recommend using both, and I'm going to explain why. When setting up the AI workspace with Claude Code, VS Code, Composio, and a second brain, what are the best practices to prevent data breaches or unintended data exposure? Specifically, how do we handle permissions, API integrations, file access, sensitive client information, tool connections in a way that keeps everything secure and compliant? Great question, Beverly. All right. And we're actually going to touch upon that, which is it all comes back to how we do the syncing, at least on the data side of things and data exposure. I'm not going to dive into the API integration side yet, right? I think that's a more advanced thing, which my team, you guys can take notes of some of these questions that the EAs are asking, so that I can create more training and content and add that to the training community. All right. But I will speak to the data side, right? So right now, that's the reason why we put your executive second brain on their local computer, right? So that it lives there versus in Google Drive or a cloud base or whatever that's cloud based. We will make it cloud based, but the root of it is going to be on your computer, on their executive's computer. Your second brain is going to be on your computer. And then we're going to sync it the most safest way so that you can give access to whoever needs access to it, right? Um, I use Obsidian Sync and Git. Obsidian Sync has end-to-end encryption, which I like, right? And so how that works is, let me just open up Obsidian here and show you guys. Okay, so how it works, once you have your executive's second brain or your second brain set up on your local drive, right? You download Obsidian and you can use the free plan. In order to use the sync though, you will have to go on the paid plan. All right, but just to start here, I'm just going to show you how the free side works. You open up Obsidian calls them vaults, but they're just basically folders. So you open up the second brain that you created. So let's go in there and create, where is it? Projects, test brain, open. Right. So now Obsidian has, here's the second brain, right? It's going to be the exact mirror of this. Why I like Obsidian? Because I can easily view the markdown files in regular, looks like a Google Doc, right? Nice and clean and clear, right? Versus if I open up in here, it's not going to be the cleanest, right? And, you know, it's still workable, right? There's the MD side. If you want it to be clean, clear, you have to go here and open this, close this. To me, and my ADHD, it's too many steps there for me, right? To get here to be able to see the markdown file. I just like Obsidian. Right? It just keeps everything nice and clean and clear there. And the benefit of this is once you set up Obsidian Sync, right? So once you set this up, you go into Sync, set up the sync, right? Then you can add yourself to your executive's Obsidian Vault. Now both you guys have access to your executive second brain, and it syncs in real time, kind of like Google Docs, right? This is the closest to a Google Doc in AI tools that I have found so far. If you guys found anything that's better, let me know, right? But I find this is the like, you know, so if Lamia opens this up as well, if she makes any edits to this, the sync is instantaneous, right? It's immediate there, so we can both collaborate on the docs like we're using Google Docs, right? So that's why I like the Obsidian Sync. The second way, or the second system, is GitHub, right? And I think many of you are familiar with GitHub already, right? The issue with GitHub is there's a manual sync that you need to do, right? In order for things to save, you actually have to manually or prompt Claude to commit and push those changes. So it's not the easiest when it comes to collaborating on certain things, right? However, Git has more of an ability to sync things across with AI agents and other tools. And so I recommend doing both, right? Is setting up both an Obsidian Sync. Obsidian Sync is more for you and your executive. Git is to set up more of like to make your local folder more cloud-based, right? But also have more version control around it, but also make it easier to mount with AI agents in the future, right? Jenny says Obsidian Sync is a paid plan. Correct. Yeah, Obsidian Sync is a paid plan, and it is ridiculously cheap. It's like $5 a month. Yeah, I don't think that'll be an issue for your executive, right? If you just explain to them why, right? I'm going to read a couple other comments here. So when building scalable AI workflows within a workspace, what are the most effective strategies for managing token consumption, context pruning, all of that? How do these decisions impact system performance and costs over time? Yeah, that's a really good question. I'm not going to dive into that. Again, that's optimization, right? I think we can do another training in the future for once you guys get the foundation set up. If you guys get the foundation set up, or the training would just be for whoever is maybe a little more advanced already, and you guys are already working with all of this, All right, we can do another training around just the more advanced stuff like, context management, session management, context optimization. So you're, maximizing the amount of token consumption, right? And memory system, right? And so those are all advanced stuff. I'm not going to dive into that today, right? But team, make a note of that. So, this is really good. I love that some of you guys are so like advanced on this already or ahead on all of this, right? Which is really good. That excites me. It just means I get to dive into more of the advanced stuff here, right? When Cloud Code reads a vault through Git, it is reading a snapshot, or does it see real-time changes as Obsidian files updates? So Git and Obsidian Sync, two separate things, right? For Obsidian Sync, it's real time. So where was my Obsidian? All right, if I go into here and I update this, right? So our mission is blah, blah, blah. Right, I update in there. And here it is real time. Where is it, company? See, it's real time. So you go into here. Where is it? What was it? Company, mission, our mission, blah, 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 blah. Right. That's why I like Obsidian Sync. Right. So it's real time there. So whatever Claude works on in here will real time sync. Whatever I work on in here will real time sync. Anything Lamia works in here will real time sync. With Git, it is not real time sync. Right. With, like I said before, with Git, it requires a invoking certain skills like commit, push, right? Commits to save it, push means push it into the GitHub repo, right? And so Git is great for big code bases when you're working on code bases and specific projects. For us here at Atlas, every single project we have has its own Git, right? For the second brain, the only reason you'd be using Git is just to keep a version control of your executive second brain. So if you mess up or your executive messes up on anything, you can revert it back to an older version, right? And or if you need to mount it into an agent, right? Then you can give the agent the GitHub repo and it can clone it and mount it so it has access there, right? So that would be kind of the reasons why we would set up both, all right? Yeah, I'm repeating myself. So hopefully that's clear. You guys, is that clear? Or do you guys want me to elaborate a little bit more on why Obsidian Sync versus Git? All right, I recommend both. Right. So the Obsidian side was easy. You just open up the vault or open up the second brain in Obsidian, set up the sync, um, enable the sync feature, which you need to be on the paid plan for. And then you could set up end-to-end encryption with a password, right? And that just protects all the data and everything. And then you can add in yourself as a collaborator, right? Then when you open up your Obsidian account, you'll be able to access your executive second brain, right? And if I was an EA, how I would do it is, I would have two windows open up at all times. My executive second brain, my second brain, right? Anything I'm doing work on for my own stuff, right, would be in my second brain. Anything I need to view, access, or see, or whatever in my executive second brain, I would be able to access there. Right. So that's what my workflow would look like, but you guys can get creative with how you want to set it up. You could set it up in one workspace as well. So this is Colin second brain, and let's say I'm Lamia right now. I can just go and add in a folder here and add in where was that test brain? Test brain. There you go. So if I'm Lamia right now, then I have my second brain and then I have my executive second brain, right? Then when I'm working with Claude Code, I just need to be clear of which workspace to be working in, right? I don't recommend it, or else it creates more opportunity for Claude Code to get confused and put things in the wrong place. So I would actually recommend having two separate windows. Yeah. Cool. Git, how to set up Git, right? So we set up Obsidian Sync already. To set up Git, let's open this up so it's wider. So right now we have this folder on the local drive. It's connected to Git connected to Obsidian. Once you connect the vault, you'll see this folder magically just, pop up here, right? Which just means, great, now it's connected to Obsidian, right? Now, if I want this connected to the Git as well, I would go into my executives account, Git account, right? And create a new, right? Go into your executives account, create a new repo, right? And you would name it and keep the same name there, right? So in this case, it would be test brain team. You guys can delete this afterwards because I'm going to forget to. And you pick either private or public. Of course, this is your executive's second brain. So 100%, 1000% keep it private, right? So no one else has access to it, right? Create the repo. Once the repo is created, you have the URL now. Just copy that URL, go back into here and tell Claude, you can go back into here, I've created a Git repo for this second brain. Add here. Use natural language. You can use the technical language if you know what that is, right? But if you don't, just use natural language, right? So I created a private GitHub repo, right? Directed to the URL, and then can you connect it? Right. And anywhere you get stuck, you can ask a question, right? But what it's going to do now is it's going to initiate and take this repo here and connect it into here. Right. Then now you have dual sync, right? You have Obsidian sync and you have GitHub sync. Okay. Any questions on the syncing side? It's pushed. So if I refresh this now, there you go. So now my second brain or my executive second brain is now on GitHub. It's private. No one can access it unless I go in and I add collaborators to it. Right. So only you and your executive should have access to the second brain right now. If in the future other team members need access to it, then you can grant them access to it. All right. So we've covered AI workspace setup, the interface. We covered setting up the second brain. We covered syncing the second brain. Now let's talk about the integrations layer. All right, so integrations layer, there's lots of different ways to do this. You don't have to follow exactly my way of doing it, right? But what I found the easiest way so far right now is setting up something called Composio. So if you go to Composio, right, there's a free plan on it. You can get started, right? And it's basically like a Zapier for AI agents, right? You connect all your different tools. So once you go through the onboarding, it'll take you through, it'll connect all the different tools that you use, right? So in here, I have my Gmail, I have my GitHub, I have my Google Calendar, Sheets, Slack, Drive, Docs, LinkedIn, Zoom, Fathom, Airtable, QuickBooks. I connected all of these, right? Once it's connected, now I just install it into here so that Claude Code is going to have access to all those tools. In those tools, I can also control what it has access to, right? So you go into here, you can control and what tools or what access it has, right? If you don't want certain tools to have write access, you can control that in there too. You can update those, right? But here's the installation it's quite seamless. It's quite easy so far that I have found, right? And so, if you want to connect this to Claude Cowork, just follow the instructions, Claude Code, follow the instructions. If your executive uses OpenClaw, connect to OpenClaw, Codex, whatever, right? And so I would just follow that. And there's two methods: is you can connect it using CLI or MCP, right? I recommend going the CLI route, right? It's going to use the least amount of tokens, and it's the most optimized way. You can do both if you want just a foolproof way, right? But without going into the details too much about everything, what this does is it gives your agent access to your Composio account, which has access to all the apps. All right, and it makes it easy because now, let's say I want to create skills for myself or for my executive, and if that skill needs access, to certain tools, right? I can just um, program it into the skill of like, like the one I had previously in here, right? On the expense management, it needed access to my QuickBooks. Well, I just wrote it in the skills that you have access to QuickBooks through Composio, right? Then it's automatically going to know. Then the next time it runs that skill automatically, it's going to access QuickBooks through the Composio connection there. Questions on that? All right. So there's instructions here. So you can there's a free account there. So I recommend just starting with a free account and playing this with yourself. Connect your own tools, set up your own second brain, set up your own connections, and start building your own first skills, right? Um, Build your skills, get the outcomes. Everything you build, you get to add back into your portfolio, right? So for those of you guys that are on the bench right now, waiting to get clients, instead of just sitting there and waiting, start building up your portfolio, right? After you come out of this training, go and set up your AI workspace. Now you can add that to your portfolio. Then you can tell your future clients, hey, I know how to set up an AI workspace. I can set this up for you too. It's going to help you increase your productivity. All right. Start building skills. If you know that, all right, all executives will need an inbox management skill. They'll need a meetings management skill. They're going to need SODs and EODs. Start creating the skills for that. Start by doing it with yourself, right? Set up your own Gmail connector, right? Via Composio, build a skill that triages your own inbox, right? That drafts messages in your own inbox. Get the skill to work. Once you have that, now you can add that to your portfolio. I know how to automate inbox, right? Do the same thing with meetings, do the same thing with all of these. And guys, we're going to make this easier for you. We're building a whole not playbook, skills library. It's been a long day already. Skills. We're building a skills library. We're going to give you guys skill templates you guys can take and make your own. You can literally take that, try it out, put that into your own AI workspace, get to the outcomes, right? And then you can add that all back into your portfolio and resumes and profiles and whatever, right? The connectors are so efficient. Work is so much easier. Yeah, the connectors are really, really great. Once you know how to set up the connectors, right? And yeah, yeah. I don't think I need to elaborate any more on that. Um, and that is that. That is now you have the four layers that we talked about. AI workspace, second brain. Oh, I didn't talk about the memory system yet. We'll come back to that. The integrations layer, right? You have all that. You have the AI workspace. You do it for yourself. You're able to do it for your clients. Because you've done it for yourself, you know how to guide and walk your clients through how to do that, right? And yeah, it's a massive unlock for you. It's a massive unlock for your clients. I can't emphasize enough the importance of that. Memory system, just real quickly, I'll probably do another training on this piece. All right, there's a lot of different memory systems out there, right? I'm not going to say this is the best, but I will say this is what I'm using right now at this time of this recording. Things will always change. We might improve. I might find another one that's better and might swap things around. But the one that I really like is it's called Claude MEM, right? So you guys can just Google that. It's a plugin as well, right? Sorry, what am I doing? It's a plugin, right? You'll have to add the marketplace, this one. So if you go into this, let me just open that there. Claude MEM, right? So you go into here, you'll see the instructions on how to install it and everything, right? Or you can just add it into your plugins marketplace. Once you add it into your plugins marketplace, then the plugin will show up in here. Claude MEM, install the plugin, right? And this runs in the background. You're not going to see it in here, right? What it does is it the issue with Claude Code is it doesn't keep its memory from conversation to conversation. Each conversation I create, it kind of does, but is not great. The native memory system that it has isn't the best. Right? With Claude MEM, it forces it to do it more intentionally. Right? So every single time you have a conversation with Claude Code, it's going to capture and remember the things that it did in there and keep and store and organize it in its own backend folder system, right? And that way, when you have future conversations, it'll pull relevant context into future conversations, right? And that way, your Claude code has persistent, I wouldn't say 100% persistent, but has better persistent memory over time. Can Composio integrate with Google Flights? I don't know. Let's find out. I don't. It's Google Flights is not an app, is it? I don't think it's an app. No. Yeah. No. Exactly. So it would need to have it needs to be an actual app for you to connect it. I'm assuming you are looking to set up a skill for travel management that searches up flights, right, with Google Flights. My recommendation for that would be to use a web search tool, right? And so a very clear skill, right, with very clear instructions on how to search for and find flights, right? A skill that has the preferences of your executive already, right? So it knows which flights to look for, what kind of flights, right? And then there's lots of web search tools out there. You can use Brave, you can use Perplexity, you can use Google has one. What is it called? Gemini. Right. Yeah, there's lots of different web search tools out there that you can give to your Claude Code. So be able to use those tools to be able to search the web and look up Google Flights and look up flights for you. Right. There's probably travel management tools out there too. I haven't found any. I don't know if you guys have found any. I don't do my travel management. That's what Lamia is here for. Thank God. So yeah, if you guys come across really cool just like tools and stuff, like share that in the AI training community so we can all learn from it, right? Um, okay, last piece I want to touch base on, and then I want to open it up for questions, right? Is the handoff. So what this workflow looks like, right, is if you have an existing client already, then work with your existing client to set this up, right? I would start with discovery and consultation. Let's understand how their current AI workspace, if they have one, looks like, right? Get a better idea of what's going to work for them. Right, spend a little bit of time doing a little bit of auditing and discovery with your executive to architect their AI workspace. If they're flexible and they're like, just give me whatever that's going to make my life easier, then just go with what we taught here. Otherwise, do some variation of what I'm sharing here with you guys so it works for your executive, then go and set that up. If you're on the bench right now and you're waiting, go and set this up for yourself. Learn, get used to the whole process so you know how to do it. That way, what we're going to do is we're going to start promoting you guys as EAs that know how to do this. All right. So you guys better know how to do this. Otherwise, it's going to come back and bite us in the butt here. If we're marketing out there and we're telling your future clients that you guys know how to do this and that you guys don't know how to do this, that's not going to be good. Right. So go and that's your assignment right now, right? Is go and build your AI workspace for yourself. Set that up, do a quick Loom video or screenshots, send that to us so that we know and just to verify that, okay, you know how to set this up. What we're going to do on our end now is we're going to start marketing you guys. All right, we're going to go out there and we're going to be like, hey, clients or future clients, you're not just getting an EA, right? You're getting an AI savvy EA who's one of the first things they're going to start doing is setting up your AI workspace so that you can be way more productive and effective with AI, and you have a system that compounds your leverage. All right. Then they're going to come into our world. We're going to match you guys. And this is where, you're going to spend your first few weeks doing, right? That's on top of the typical onboarding that you guys are doing around setting up their, their inbox and the calendar management and, starting to buy them back some more time here, right? One of the first things you guys get to do is you're going to do is be setting up their AI workspace for them. Okay. All right. How the handoff works, you're going to set that up with them. Once you set that up, then you're going to walk through with them how to use this, right? You guys, I want you guys to be positioned as the experts here. I mean, we can do this. We can do this for your clients, but then we're going to be positioned as the experts, not you guys. Which means if they no longer see the value in working with you, they're not going to continue with you, right? I know I'm being a little harsh here, but I'm just speaking into the reality of things. All right, if there's like, oh, Atlas is the experts here, then if I'm no longer seeing value in my EA, I'm just gonna let go of my EA and I'm gonna stick with Atlas and just have Atlas be the experts and teach me how to do all these things. But we want to teach this to you so that you can learn and get good at it, and then you guys get framed as the experts when you guys go to your executives and be like, hey, executive, let's set up an AI workspace for you. Let's set this up. Let's do this. Let's start building skills. Atlas has a whole plugin library and skills library. Let's take some of these skills because I know this is going to be really helpful for you. I will do most of the work here. Right. I just need access to certain accounts and stuff. Right. You set this up. You guys position yourselves as the experts. All right. Then the best case scenario here, right, for you guys is they go, Atlas doesn't seem like it's super valuable. Let me just stay with my EA. Let me get rid of Atlas. Obviously, we want everyone to stay together long term, right? That's the most ideal outcome here. But there's this reason why I'm teaching all of this to you guys is to help frame you guys as the AI operators here, right? And so once you set up the AI workspace, it's not a one and done thing. You set it up, then you want to spend some time walking through with your executives so they know how to use this, right? And I'm going to share some recommendations on things that you can go through together with your executive here in this playbook, right? The first one is, of course, showing them how to navigate and use this, right? Explain to them how to use Claude Code in here, explain to them where, what, each of these folders are for, right? Explain to them, how to start compounding knowledge, right? And so sorry, not in here, in here, yeah, test brain. So in the second brain template, I put two skills in here, right? That you guys can use. One is the ingest, one is the lint. What does these skills do is it builds the knowledge base. All right. So if you come across let's find an article or something. You know what? Let's take this. I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna take this GitHub repo. Maybe your executive comes across a GitHub repo. They're like, "This is super cool. I wanna compound this into my knowledge base." All right. You can go into here, set up a new chat, use the skill ingest, add the GitHub link. What it's going to do is it's going to read through it. It's going to pull the knowledge from it, and it's going to add that into the knowledge folder here. All right. And so as if you're doing this for yourself, if you're coming across YouTube videos, articles, blog posts that you're like, oh, these are things I want to capture and build my knowledge base up, that's how you do it. You use the ingest skill, right? Then it takes that and ingests it, and that way you have a whole compounding knowledge base. If you start working with your Claude Code and you guys had a long working session, lots of productivity, great things there, and you want it to compound all of that back into the knowledge base, same thing, just go ingest, all right, ingest this conversation, right? And the skill, you can read the skill on your own time, but it's going to take everything it's learned, the discussion it had with you, and it's going to compound that back in, right? Then now we have a compounding knowledge base that just keeps growing over time, right? And the lint one, right, is the cleanup, right? What the lint one does is, and I schedule this one to do it every single week, right? So once a week, it's going to go through the knowledge base and it's going to start to connect the dots on all the different knowledge pieces so that you have what's called a knowledge graph, right? So that every concept is connected to each other. what this does is this helps the AI model um, find things faster and quicker, right? Because it goes to one thing, it reads through, and it goes, oh, okay, that thing is related. Let me go to that and grab that here, right? Rather than it combing through and reading every single file in your knowledge base, right? Which is going to take up a lot of context and tokens, right? So we want to set up what's called a knowledge graph, and you can actually see it in Obsidian. Where's my second brain? Here's my second brain. All right, this is my second brain. So once a week, it combs through my second brain and it starts connecting the dots on all of these, right? It looks kind of cool for those of you guys that, and there's a bunch of things that are not connected, right? And so things that are not connected, the next time it runs a lint, it's going to start to connect all those, right? Then it just makes it a lot easier for the AI model to be able to find what it needs to find in there. Do we get a copy of this training? Yes, 100%. This will be shared in the AI training community. So I know I went through it very quickly. So those of you guys didn't capture everything, you can come back and watch that. You will get access to this playbook as well. I'm going to keep improving on it. And I'm also going to create, micro videos for each of these to explain it in more depth as well. So that you guys have everything you need to be able to start building your second brain and your executive second brain. Did it do it? Yeah, it did it. So it went in here, it ingested. So look, it built a concept, progressive disclosure, entities, Claude MEM. So now this is stored in my knowledge base. So the next time that I'm just like, I need to upgrade my memory system. How's the one that we're currently using? How does that work in comparison to this new one that I want to test out, right? Then it will be able to come back into here, read, the knowledge base and be able to do a comparison and tell you whether the new one's going to be better or this one is still the best way, right? And that's one use case. Yeah. So I would recommend walking your executive how to do that because they're going to come across lots of articles, YouTube videos, and things that they want to ingest, right? And you guys can come up with what's the best workflow for that. Maybe they just send it to you and you ingest it for them. Maybe you teach them how to do this and they do it themselves. That's up to you just have to understand what how your executive works. The second thing I would walk them through is how to use the skill creator and plugin dev tools, right? So the plugins I shared with you guys to get installed, right? There's the skill creator one. This one is amazing at creating skills. So if you have a workflow, you want to automate this, or you want AI to do it, create a skill for it. Right now, you can just talk to Claude Code and tell it to create the skill, and it'll probably do it. All right. I like to use the skill creator skill because there's a very clear instructions and process for how it does this that I have found it to be very effective at creating skills. All right. The piece that I really like is it's going to extract from you, ask you clarifying questions so it has everything it needs. It's going to create the skill, and then it's going to test the skill for you across baseline benchmarks. What that means is, for example, if I'm like, hey, create a skill to, I want a news briefing every single morning, right? I want you to check, the Reddit and Google search and whatever to find the latest updates on Claude, right? And send me a daily briefing on what the latest news are, right? And I want it specific to my business's use case, right? So Atlas Assistants, don't just give me all the updates, whatever is going to be relevant for my business, right? And so you can give it that instruction, it's going to create the skill, and then it's going to test the skill. It's going to test itself. So it's going to run one test where it runs Claude Code using that skill. It's going to run another test with Claude Code not using the skill, but with just the instructions, the simple instructions. All right. This one becomes the baseline. And then it's going to compare. Did the skill get better results than the baseline? Because if it didn't, then it's going to tell you no point in making this skill. Just tell Claude Code to do it. And the Claude Code will do it. Right. But if the skill actually gets way better outputs, then the baseline, then that's when it's going to recommend that, yes, here's a good skill, use the skill. Right. And so I really like that, so that we're not just creating bloat, right, by adding so many skills that may or may not actually create better outputs. So that's the skill creator one. I would walk your client through that one because that's going to be really helpful for them. And you can tell them too. It's like, hey, like I'm showing you how to do this, but you don't even actually need to do any of this. If you have an idea for a skill, just tell me. Tell me what skill you want to create. I'm going to create that for you. And again, you just increase your your value proposition there, right? You're just become way more, valuable to your executive. And then the other one is the plugin dev one. Right. And so this one is if you're building a whole system or architecture of multiple skills and connections and all of that, then you can use this. It's similar to the skill creator one, who walks you through the whole process of it, extracts the context and needs from you, builds it out, tests it, validates it, and packages everything following Claude's best practices. Right. I will do a video on another video on all of these, so you guys have that. All right. And once the skills and the plugins are created, then you can automate it, right? You can go in here and go schedule and be like, hey, I have this skill here. Can you automate the lint skill, right? I want to run it every Friday at 3 p.m. And it's going to go through the process and it's going to look at what's the best way. It's going to review the skill. It's going to look at what's the best way to automate this, and it'll guide you through the process of how to set up that automation. And then boom, now every single Friday at 3 p.m., it's automatically going to run the lint skill. Right? That simple, that easy. Okay, I'm going to pause there and let's tackle some of these questions. Team, I am not up to date.
Yeah, the technical questions have already taken note of them, so those things that you can create content for in the future. For now, the few questions about joining the community and the courses, we're already handling that.
Amazing. Cool. Awesome. Any other questions from you guys then? I see some thumbs up. See some yeses. Cool. Okay. Again, helpful is an understatement. Appreciate that. I'm glad that's useful there. And let me know, like, what else you guys need here. Right. I mean, if you guys can't already tell, we are very, very committed to helping you guys upskill and level up. Right. And I know everyone's at different stages or different, stages on your journey here. Right. And so some of you are already, I can tell from some of the questions you guys are asking, some of you guys are way more technical and way ahead already, which is amazing. All right. And maybe we just set up two separate tracks or multiple tracks in the AI training community, those that are, starting out and still focusing on the foundations and the basics. And those of you that are a little bit more advanced, we can set up a separate track there and we can dive into the more advanced and more technical things. Yeah. All right. But again, like, I can't help you guys unless you guys give me feedback, right? And like tell the team what you guys need. All right, we're gonna do our best, but we're operating based on assumptions of what we believe clients want and where we believe you guys are at. All right, the easiest, fastest path to upskilling you guys is you guys tell us. All right, you have to tell us, hey, here's where I'm at. Here's the gap. Can you create training on this? Or do a workshop like this on it? Yeah. Any other questions? Team, anything you want to add? Lamia, Russ? Oh, great question there, Tao. Yes. So once you guys start doing some of these things, you guys need to show us proof. Once you show us proof, all right. I don't know what the process is yet. Maybe Russ, you can speak into it, but we can 100% update your guys' Gamma profiles, right? So that your profiles just look way more attractive, right, for the clients that are coming in and checking out your profiles, right? And so we'll set up a process for this, right? But what we need is we need proof, right? So go and take everything I've shared today, take the playbook, go and apply it, build it for yourself. Because if you don't have an executive yet, I get it. You're not gonna be able to set up a second brain for an executive. Do it for yourself. Build it for yourself. Use yourself as a use case, right? Or if you have a friend or something like that, then you can build it for your friend too. Right? You should probably charge them for it too if you're going to do all this work for them, right? But build it for yourself and show us proof. And keep it simple, right? So it can just be like a quick Loom video or a screenshots. Take some screenshots of the things that you built, send it to us, and be like, "Hey, I can do this now. Here's proof that I can do it. Can we add this to my Gamma profile?" Right, and then we'll find ways to go and update your guys' Gamma profiles, right? Yeah, and for all of you that have clients already, you should already be on top of this, and yeah, yeah. Circles best for comms. Let's get the circle going. I know it's new right now, and it's a little quiet, and sometimes I feel like I'm talking to myself in circle. So if you guys can join me and join the party there, that would be great.
We could share like funny things. So I can share this now. So I first used this skill creator plugin. So it's kind of like was not working for me for some reason. I don't know, probably it was me. But then I kind of like used the slash command multiple times. And at the same time, I had like two playbooks because I was trying to create a plugin there. And then my context and my tokens finished in one setting. It was like less than 15 minutes. And I was just sitting there staring. It was my context manager was like at 90 in less than 5 minutes. Because it told me later when I got back there, like what happened, because the skill itself is like 8K like characters, and I was using it multiple times there. So yeah, just use it once, install it, and it will work. Just say use it and do not try to use it multiple times. That was yeah. If the community was there, I would have shared that, but now I think I'll be sharing more of these funny, silly, but still it hurts sometimes when you think about it. So just share, please, so we all feel like we're not the only ones who are like struggling with these things. I think the struggle kind of like built this bond and it kind of helped us all grow together.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. Yeah, 100%. I've made tons and tons and tons of mistakes in here as I'm learning how to do all of this as well. Yeah, there's still a lot of things that I don't even know, that I'm like, I don't know if Paul's on this call, right? That I have to go to an actual dev and be like, hey, how do you actually do that? Right? I'm an amateur dev here. I'm a dev wannabe, right? And there are a lot of things that I'm not doing that are following best practices, right? But don't let that be the reason why you don't try and test out with things and play around with things, right? The beautiful thing is, yes, you may end up wasting a lot of tokens figuring out a lot of these things, but the token resets, guys. Right, unless you're using API keys for your tokens, where the money is actually gone and you're wasting a lot of money on it, right? That's a different story. But if you're using a subscription, the token resets, right? So if you ended up wasting a bunch of token to test out this thing, great. Capture your lessons, learn from it, and wait for it to reset and try again. Right. Would be so pumped to hear and read on Circle Everyone's stage thoughts. Yes, 100%. Right. Get in there. Let's start more conversations. Let's start more threads. This training made me realize how much I didn't know, to a point I feel so dumb. No, that's not the mindset, right? That's not the mindset. Right? The mindset here is, okay, here's the gap. Here's the things I didn't know. Great. Here's what I get to learn. Here's what I get to explore. Here's how I get to level up. Right? There's the fact that you guys are here, the fact that you guys are learning this, playing around with this, working on these things already sets you guys apart from the majority of a lot of other EAs out there. You'd be surprised about how many other EAs out there that are not even touching anything except for ChatGPT right now. right? We're adding this as a filter to our recruitment pipeline, by the way. So if you guys already made it in, congrats. We're adding a filter to our recruitment pipeline now, right? If they have only just played around with ChatGPT and have done nothing more than that, we're not taking them in. We're not taking them in. All right, the standard has gone up. We are bumping up the standard as well. All right, we're bumping the standard up because what is the point? What is the point of having more EAs that are just in defense mode and trying to stay where they're at? Right? It's not fair to us, but it's not fair to them too. What's the point of bringing them onto the bench when we know they're just going to sit in the bench for a really, 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 really long time because no clients are going to pick them up because everyone else on the bench has AI skills and then they don't. Then obviously the clients are going to pick the ones with AI skills. So it's not fair to them. It's a waste of their time. We're not going to put them through a whole rigorous recruitment process and training process for them to sit in the bench forever. Right. And so we're tightening things up a lot on the recruitment side. Right. We are, we're requesting or mandating that those that come in are already in offense mode. You're already being like, okay, this is the future. I'm ahead of it. I'm getting ahead. You don't need to be an absolute expert, but you're on the offense. Yeah. Cool. All right, guys. If there's no other questions here, let's wrap things up. So for those of you that are on the bench, that's your next assignment here. Go and build your own first. You build your own AI workspace, right? Do a Loom, do a screenshot of it, send it to us. We can go and update your Gamma profiles. On our side, we're going to go out there. I'm going to start drumming up some more demand here, right? We're going to reach out to our email list. We're going to be promoting hard on, hey, we have AI trained EAs now, right? Not only are you getting you're not getting a traditional EA anymore. You're getting an AI savvy EA. Your EA is going to know how to set up your AI workspace for you, right? Which is going to be the foundations. And in the future, they're going to keep adding more skills and plugins. I'm going out there. So please, guys, don't leave me hanging. Do not make me go out there and do false advertisement. Right? If I'm going to go out there and advertise this, you guys very much better be able to back me up on this or else we both are in trouble. All right. Cool. That is it. More to come in the AI training community. I'm just about wrapping up a whole track on how to use Claude Code to build landing pages, design landing pages, build websites, right? That way I know there's a lot of clients out there that are requesting that. Then you guys are gonna be able to do that. You guys don't even need to be designers, all right? You guys are gonna be able to build landing pages and websites that are way better than what other people can do out there, right? And then we have other tracks like how to build micro apps, other tracks like building skills, automations. I'm working as fast as I can to get those trainings out there, right? So, yep, that is it. That's all I got for you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. I know this was a long call. I appreciate you guys carving out the time to being here. Yeah, I'll see you guys in the AI training community.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.